All right, everybody. It looks like we are ready to get started. RJ, thanks for joining us today. What we're going to do is, as our usual standard practice, if reporters will put in the chat that they have questions, I'll call on each one individually. And before we get to that, we have sophomore forward RJ Duhart. If you'll give us, RJ, your thoughts on how the experience has been so far in Indianapolis, and then we'll take questions after that.
I mean, I think that it's a different experience just because like we're so used to being around each other like 24/7, especially like when we go on the road and things like that. But the biggest thing we had to do was quarantine for the first, I want to say, 48 hours. And even to this day, we still can't go in each other's room and just hang out with each other. But I mean, other than that, it's a wonderful feeling just to be here because it's my first experience in March Madness as well as like my first year in Division I basketball. So I think that it's just wonderful to be here and be able to like have make history in App State.
All right, we'll take our first questions from Ethan Joyce, Winston-Salem Journal.
Hey, RJ. Yeah, I was going to hit on that with you, just the fact that, a year ago, you're kind of making this decision of where you want to go. Or I guess before the season, you're making this decision about where you want to go. And you end up at App State, you end up here. I don't know, what kind of emotions does that bring up for you now that, that was a good decision?
It's definitely wonderful to know that I made the right decision. I still talk to my JUCO coaches to this day. Like even after winning the Sun Belt championship, they were actually the first person I called because I just had to thank them because I know none of this would have been possible without them. So I think that it's definitely a different it's different transitioning from JUCO to Division I basketball with the play style and everything, but as well as the living I wouldn't say we had bad living conditions, but like the living conditions at Division I basketball is definitely better.
I know you really had like a pretty serious ramp up as far as responsibility in the Sun Belt Conference Championship or in the tournament. What was that like? I don't know, like how quickly do you know that's coming when, does coach come to you and say, hey, we're probably going to play you like 35, 40 minutes? Or was it something that just kind of developed, in the game and you just ended up playing so much time those last couple games?
Really, it was definitely a big jump from, I would say, like the amount of time that I was playing, especially with the first game being Arkansas Little Rock. And I wasn't even able to finish the first half because I had went down with a hip injury. But like the next three games, I did play a lot of minutes. I think 121 to be exact. But it was just kind of I had to step up and play a bigger role because one of our players couldn't finish the game, and he just came up to me during warm-ups and was just like, "Hey, bro, you're gonna have to play a big role tonight." And it just went from there to the whole tournament, and I just had to step up and play my part.
Just ask one more, RJ. You said you guys can't go in your rooms. Are you guys like hanging out in the hallway? What's that like on y'all's team floor right now?
Once we get upstairs, we kind of just go right back to our room. But like, of course, in the meeting areas and things like that, we talk. We try to get all our conversations out so that we have nothing really to talk about. And even when we do get to our rooms, most of the time we're just FaceTiming each other, catching up on things like that, talking about the things we see on TV.
All right, we'll go next to David Ware from 24/7 Sports.
RJ, there'll be a lot of talk about the experience and how great it is and everything, but come tomorrow night, you're going to actually be on the floor and it's going to be time to play ball again. So let's talk a little bit about that. Kind of piggybacking off what Ethan asked you about the minutes. When it became apparent that James was going to be very limited or unable to go, kind of after that Friday night game, as you were talking to the coaches about, taking on that accelerated role, what was the conversation you guys had? Because, James has got his game. He's a certain kind of player, very physical, low post. You're a little bit of a different, taller guy and that you can kind of move around the floor. So what did you and the coaches talk about relative to making sure that you were in there trying to help fill some of that gap from James not being there, but also still kind of maintaining your game?
I would say we really didn't have a actual conversation. It was kind of just like coming out of warm-ups, he just told me, Duhart, you're starting this half. And he just went on with the pregame talk and the halftime talk. But I mean, I just knew that if we wanted to win, and I knew I wanted to win, that I was just gonna have to take on the role and do the best I could do.
As you guys have gone in and started doing some of the scouting on Norfolk, one of the things I notice about them offensively is the guards like to drive. They come in aggressively. They're looking to draw defense, and if they get the shot, they'll take it in there. But they're also looking to kick out. When you've got a backcourt that you know is going to come attack you off the dribble, and you're the guy kind of in the post that's bringing that shot blocking presence and also some help defense. What are the things that are important for you to do to help make sure you're not letting that ball get to the rim, but also trying to disrupt them as they're trying to look for an open shooter on the outside?
It's just sticking to our defensive principles. Nothing different going into this game. We kind of played, I would say, guards like that this whole season. So I wouldn't say as much of an adjustment. I would just say I have to keep doing the same thing. Like I say, one of the biggest things I have to do this game, especially, is just stay down on all ball fakes, pump fakes, things like that, and just stay fundamental.
They've also got a really big post player in the middle in J.J. Matthews, who, ironically enough, App has played before because he transferred from Arkansas State. When it comes to a big guy, I think he's like 6'9", maybe 250, somewhere in that range. When it comes to your defensive principles, when you've got a guy that's as big as that and, is going to play kind of a power game, what are the things that are important for you there?
I would say I use my speed. Like when I play bigger defenders, I just try to outsmart them. I know that I can't really bang with them like weight wise because of course I'm on like 205 to 210, so I'm an undersized post besides my height. But other than that, I use my speed and my smarts to try to outsmart them and try to get them to play out of their game.
All right. Do we have any more questions for RJ? Looks like we're good. Thanks for your time, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Next up for everybody, we have graduate student and guard Michael Almonacy. Mike, if you can get us started with some comments on your experience so far in Indianapolis, and then we'll take questions after that.
It's dope. I mean, definitely different experience with March Madness, having COVID this year, being inside a bubble. But this is my first time in March Madness. Last year I was somewhere totally different just to be here. Last year being at Division II, and now being at the biggest stage at the Division I level, even the college level, it's a blessing. It's been great. It's definitely difficult, being staying in your room, not being around your teammates all the time. But when we get an opportunity to be around our teammates, it's great. But I'm enjoying it. But I just can't wait to play tomorrow. So that's all I'm really focused on.
All right, we'll go first with David Ware from 24/7 Sports.
Michael, we've spent a lot of time talking about the experience and the memories and all those things, but you kind of hit the nail there. Tomorrow night, you actually got to go on the floor, and it's time to start playing again. And watching a little bit of film on Norfolk State, very guard driven. They remind me a little bit of App in that regard. They've got guys who can knock down a three. They've got guys who like to drive, put stress on you that way, kick it out. As you've watched these guys play, and you guys have talked about the strategy and defending them, what are the things that are important?
For us, as me, Delph, just when we start off the game, us three guards having to start with our aggressiveness and getting those guards' heads, taking them out their game. I think we're a really good defensive team. I think the coaching staff has a great plan to defend them. The past couple of days we've been repping it. Today's our last day to really rep it. I think they have good guards, but at the end of the day, I feel like if we execute our game plan and keep playing at defense, that we should have a good night tomorrow.
Their roster has got is made up heavily of transfers. They've got about a half a dozen guys who transferred into the program. 3 of those guys are actually first-year transfers this season. You know, as somebody who's done that a couple of times during your career and now coming into App, what are the things, you know, based on your experience that it takes to successfully kind of blend yourself in and feel like you're really a part of a new program when you come in from a transfer portal situation?
Well, as a transfer first, you got to pick the right situation for you. That's first and foremost. But as soon as you get on campus, you got to make an immediate impact. You got to show the guys that you're here to work. You're here to get better. You're here to become a teammate, not just here to just be here. You got to blend in with the guys. You got to develop relationships on and off the court. And once that picks up, once they can trust you on and off the court, everything else should really comes easy. As you can see with my transition, everything was pretty smooth for me. Even though through the COVID year, throughout the year it's gotten better, and we all clicked at the right time, and that's all that really mattered.
Give me your biggest personal game key for tomorrow.
For me personally, just play my game. Try to get everybody involved early. If I got my shot, take the shot, obviously. But really, our defense, I gotta start on my defense, be aggressive. Turn them over. Let's get out of transition. Scoring transition is going to be a key thing. They like to play a little faster than we do. But and also for me as a point guard, just controlling the pace of the game. I think I do a pretty good job at controlling the pace of the game when I'm in there. Just figuring out what's the right pace for our team. And once we get that right pace, we should be good.
All right, we'll go next to Mike Solarti, Spectrum News.
Thanks, Joey. Hey, Michael. We talked to you after you had your string of net from the Sun Belt wrapped around your hat. As you look ahead to this tournament, you've been in Indianapolis, like I said, for a couple of days now, and you think about the magnitude of trying to pull this thing together. How do you think the eventual champion, whether it's you or any other team, is going to be remembered for winning this particular tournament because of all the things that are going along with it?
With this particular tournament, is very different. There's not going to be a lot of fans in the arena. Like usually tournaments, there's 20,000, 15, whatever the max is. Usually it's packed out. Especially being in the bubble now. It's honestly, I feel like it's going to be the best team. It's not going to be the best talented team. It's not going to be the best, the biggest team. It's going to be the best team, meaning the guys that stick together, they play together. They do everything right off the court, especially with the isolation and stuff like that. So I think they're gonna remember being the best overall team. It's not. I feel like it's not gonna be the most talented team, but it's gonna be the best team.
And following up on that, based on your reply there, where do you guys rate in terms of best team? And you even talked about coming in as a guy from the transfer portal and having to blend in and make the chemistry work. How do you guys approach? How do you guys fit into that description?
You could just see off our performance in the playoffs. I feel like we're very connected. We have great chemistry. I feel like we're tough. We're a great team. You just don't walk into winning a championship being an okay team. Everybody plays for each other. I think we're the best team. Honestly, I think that we're the most connected. I think we're one of the better teams in the tournament. We just got to go out there and prove it. We got a game on Thursday, and that's all that really matters is Norfolk. And then, once that game is over, when we win, that's how I feel. And we worry about the next one. But right now, we just really worry about Norfolk, and we're gonna take it one game at a time, like we did in the tournament, because that's all that really matters. You got to win the first game. I think everybody in this tournament's good, so the best team's gonna win it.
Thanks, Michael. Best of luck, man.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go next to Ethan Joyce, Winston-Salem Journal.
Hey, Michael, kind of looking back at that Sun Belt tournament, you've the way you perform that obviously puts kind of this scouting report target on your back, I would guess, if you're Norfolk State. Just your approach, is that something that is exciting for you, that you kind of embrace that? Do you not really think about it as much? Because like you said earlier, those games don't really matter as much anymore. Like, how do you kind of approach it coming off, a really good stretch for you?
For me, besides my first 2 years at Stony Brook, I've usually been scouted, being that guy or whatever. Even this year, we had a 3-headed monster. We all 3 scouted that way. Any of us could go off at any time. So it's pretty much been like that all year. So I really don't really go. I just go into it and just play my game for real. I don't really worry about the scout report because that's the type of player I am. I'm just gonna keep playing my game. I'm not gonna let anyone change how I play.
All right, we'll go next to Ian Taylor, Watauga Democrat.
Hi, Mike. You mentioned earlier everyone clicking at the right time, and obviously you had the run to the tournament. What's the general vibe right now among the team?
We're gonna win the tournament. Like that's how we feel. We didn't come here just to play in the game. Everybody gets the opportunity to win a national championship. We gotta take it one game at a time. But why can't we do it? We're a 16 seed. Who cares? UMBC won. A game against a one. Even though we playing a 16 right now, but just like VCU went from the first four. Syracuse went to the first four really far. Little Chicago did it. George Mason, they went all the way to the Final Four from the A10. One of my AAU coaches was on that team, so I talked to him a little bit about back in the past how they did it, and just sticking together, just playing every game one at a time, just playing your hardest. That's all you can do because it's basketball. They put on the same jerseys that we do, the same shoes. They just got a different name than we are. We've been playing against most of these guys our whole life in AAU. They just go to a different school than we do. Why can't we win? So, we're just going to take it one game at a time. Right now, focused on Norfolk, and then, we got that one tomorrow, so it's exciting.
One more. Coach Kearns mentioned, you guys have had to deal with a lot of adversity, but you're here.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, with App State, there's not a great program history of postseason success, I guess you could say. How does it feel knowing you're about to be one of the 30, 40 guys in program history to play in a game like this?
Obviously, it's a blessing. I mean, he's right about that. I really didn't know much about it before, going into the transfer portal. But, Coach Kearns and his staff did a great job, turning this program around in such a short time. Being one of those 35 guys is definitely a blessing. We got a game Thursday that, we're going to win. Hopefully we're going to win. That's definitely history right there. And hopefully that, we could keep, gaining more history. But I think that this program is definitely on a turnaround, thanks to Coach Kearns and his staff.
Thanks, Michael.
All right, looks like that's all we got for you, Michael. Thanks for your time today.
Appreciate it.
We should have Adrian Delph and Donovan Gregory coming up for everyone's heads up. And here is Delph right now. Adrian, if you'll give us some opening comments on your experience so far in Indianapolis, and then we'll take questions after that.
Honestly, it's just been a blessing being down here. One of the many teams that's down here, ready to compete in the NCAA tournament. I mean, I can't wait to get started, to be honest.
All right, we'll take our first questions from David Ware, 24/7 Sports.
Adrian, as you guys have scouted Norfolk, you've got kind of a three-guard approach, similar to what you guys do. But it's kind of interesting because you got Devontae Carter, who is their leading scorer, but really doesn't do much around the three-point line. His preference is to really drive you hard, try to get inside, and then he's really good at kicking back out and finding open guys. As one of those guys that typically ends up defending those wings, what's the balance you have to maintain between getting over to help on Carter if you need to, but then also making sure that you can close back out on those shooters, because those are the guys that really hurt you?
I think it's all just about staying disciplined, just watching scout and, watching every detail. You can't let them get downhill and, be able to make those kickouts. So you just got to play solid defense.
In the last handful of games, and certainly in the tournament, you've really become a much more aggressive rebounder. I think over your last 7 games, you're averaging like 6 boards a game. And, some of that's probably brought on because James has been hurt and hadn't been out there, and that takes a big chunk of rebounding away. Talk a little bit about that part of your game too, of getting in there as one of the bigger guards and being able to help the guys down low clear the glass.
Right. James had a big part of, our rebounds, and with him out, that means somebody else had to step up to get more rebounds. So, I mean, coach told us we had to
we had to chip in, getting rebounds for Don and Dewhart. But yeah.
All right, we'll go next to Ethan Joyce, Winston-Salem Journal.
Adrian, take us through what it was like to practice at Assembly Hall yesterday. Like, I don't know, that's a pretty like significant building as far as college basketball goes. So what was that like to go through that practice?
It was cool. It's a really big like gym, kind of, I don't know, to me it looked kind of like a boat to me, but I mean it was cool to be in there, and I just can't wait to be able to play game in there because I think it'd be great.
Coach Kearns has mentioned that he's tried to like stress to you guys to enjoy this moment. And I know you're working toward this game at this point. That's going to be a big part of it. But as far as trying to enjoy yourself, how's that been through these last couple of days?
It's been kind of tough, having to be in a hotel most of the time. But I mean, today we went out, and been on the baseball field a little bit, just get out the hotel and, just try to enjoy ourselves that way, and just try to take everything in as we're here.
All right, we'll go next to Josh Sims, Fox 46 in Charlotte.
Yeah, so obviously this is going to be the biggest game, you ever play in. Is there anybody you guys have been able to talk to, or anyone you can lean on in terms of getting advice on how to handle such a big moment for you guys?
I think before the season even started, we had a lot of discussions with like coaches, and we watched a lot of videos, and just to prepare us for moments like these. And I think it really is going to benefit us, going on forward.
And just to follow up, Michael just talked about, the mentality of why not us? Why can't you guys be the team, the 16th seed that makes the run? How important is that for you guys to have that mentality when, from the outside, I mean, people might overlook you, but you guys have to be confident going in no matter who you're playing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, people's going to doubt us either way. I think we go in and play like we know how to play, play hard and, be a scrappy team like we are. Anything can happen. I mean, a lot of stuff happened during March, so that's really it.
All right, we'll go next to Ian Taylor, Watauga Democrat.
Adrian, you've been here for 3 years. I was just kind of curious from your perspective how the program has grown, and as well as to get to this point, considering where this program was when you joined it.
Well, when I first got here, it wasn't a lot of success going on, and we was kind of, when Coach Kearns came, we were still building, first year, and then this year it just took off. Well, it took off, but we still had some ups and downs, and we were still learning how to fight and just stay together. And then we had a lot of people come in new, so we just had to stick together really, and it worked out for us at the end.
When you look at everything you guys have had to go through this year to get to this point, as well as getting that momentum at the right time in the tournament, how will you look back on this season from your perspective?
Just not to get too high with the highs and too low with the lows. I mean, we had a stretch where we lost like 6 out of 7 games, and at that time it didn't look too good for us. But I mean, we just stayed together and kept our heads up, and we pulled through it.
Thanks.
All right, Adrian, looks like that's all we got for you. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
All right, last but not least, we have sophomore Donovan Gregory. Donovan, if you can just get us started with your thoughts on the experience in Indianapolis so far, and then we'll take questions after that.
I mean, it's different just with COVID and everything going on, but it's kind of like a bubble here, really. We just been in the hotel a lot, getting meals delivered here, and we got to go outside today. So, I mean, that was nice, but you got to just understand the situation and just realize that this is what you have to go through with the circumstances going on in the world right now.
All right, we'll go first with David Ware, 24/7 Sports.
Donovan, you're a guy that had the opportunity to play for and win championships at the high school level. And then you come in last week and, you're in a one and done situation again. As you think back to being in high school and winning some state titles, how did some of those lessons of being prepared for every possible situation, contributing in every way that you can, that you learned in high school, kind of carry over to this year?
I mean, I've been on both sides, just winning and losing championships. Freshman and sophomore year, I lost to the same team, and it's just like you don't want to leave any regrets on the court, like after you win or lose. So that's just the mindset I had going into the Sun Belt tournament. Just I didn't want to leave any regrets. I was just gonna give it all I had and do whatever I could to help my team win.
In looking at Norfolk State, they're kind of an interesting team. They're a little bit like App. They like to play from the backcourt. They've got some guys who can drive the ball on you. They're going to try to kick it out. Help defense looks like it's going to be something that's going to be important. And you're a guy that is versatile enough to kind of step up, in and around that free throw line and kind of help with guard penetration. But then you're also going to be responsible for doing some stuff in the post. As you guys have talked defensively about your role in this particular game, what are the things that are important for you?
Just really just following our game plan and just doing what I need to do on defense to limit them from scoring. So if I'm matched up on a shooter, then I just need to know how to guard him, or if I'm guarding a guard, just knowing how to guard him. It's just stuff like that where I'll just have to do what it takes to win.
All right, do we have somebody else to ask any questions of Donovan? We've got Ethan Joyce, Winston-Salem Journal.
Hey, Donovan, you kind of listen to what you said and what Adrian said too, just about how this is such a big moment, and it's in this weird scenario, just with all the protocols and things like that. Has it made you feel like you've had to work a little harder to enjoy it, just because it has been so sequestered, and you guys are just kind of waiting for this first game?
I mean, kind of. It's an unreal feeling just to be here. A lot of people's seasons are over, and we just get the chance to play more basketball. So it's fun, and I mean, it's just like we're just trying to soak it all in, and we're still enjoying it, honestly, while preparing for the game on Thursday.
I know. I guess do you have to work at maybe trying not to be too charged up when that game finally comes on Thursday, since you are just you're kind of waiting for it to come around?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just all the excitement, like we're just gonna use it on the court really on Thursday. Just take it one game at a time, and I think that we know how to just like lock in and just focus on the game. But like as of right now, we just been taking everything all in still.
All right, we'll go next to Mike Solarti, Spectrum News.
Thanks, Joey. As you look at this tournament, the way that it's set up and everybody being, bubbled away from each other and separated and all that stuff, when you think about whoever cuts down the nets at the end of this, how is that champion going to be remembered, whether it's you guys or whomever?
I mean, I think that just this year in particular will be special, just because last year, I mean, there wasn't even an NCAA tournament, and just having everything back this year, I think that it'll just make really every game special, in my opinion.
And for what it takes to win, obviously you've got to win your games, but because of everything that's all the protocols that are in place, what kind of a team do you think is going to be the one that wins it all? Because is it going to be the most talented team? Is it going to be the luckiest team? Is it going to be the team that really just is able to band together and fight through everything on and off the court?
Yeah, really, I think it'll end up being, honestly, just the toughest team and the team that's the most together, because just with all this going on, it can just be easy to just like, I don't know, just like have problems within your team just over like little stuff. And I think it'll just come down to just being together and just being tough.
Thanks, man. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
All right, Donovan, thanks for your time today. That's all we have.
Thank you.